Good afternoon from New York. Today's subject: Who who are we? What are we? Where are we? Brahman, Atman, Paramatma, inner mind, communication. And all of the complex theories out there about what exactly we might be, what consciousness is, and how we should behave based on that. I would like to propose that it's all about empathy and awareness, and the perception of ourselves as as a subject viewing objects. Throw that in. Well, when you see yourself as the subject, as the the one experiencing things, in inner mind communication, that's your dramatic self. And that might be considered your Atma, in a sense. And Brahman is the sense that, we're all actually one consciousness. And Paramatma reminds me of the Ishtadevata concept, and that's our sense of ourselves as a way of relating to the Brahman, the one consciousness, as a personification of that one consciousness, as a part of ourselves mingling or joining with Brahman. So it's in Christianity, that's Jesus, and as the Paramatma, the super soul, and Brahman being the Father, and of course the Holy Spirit would be the spirit that, the reality that joins us all together, and is a communication with all of those things, and a sense of the oneness between all of those things. I will send you a comforter, says Jesus. And that comfort is this making these three things work together. Because if you don't have these things working together, you're not optimally enjoying your life. And so, where does the Atman live? The Atman, your dramatic self, lives in your timeline as you perceive it, with a present, a past, and a future. But since this is like a continuous wave, where do you demarcate what is present? As soon as you move into the present, as the hippies would say, be here now. Forget the fellow that they got that from. Well, being here now means that the entire sense of a timeline collapses. The present becomes everything. And that's kind of a restful space to be in. Valid perspective. And when that happens, of course, there's also the sense that you are one with everything, thus the joke of some monks going, they always say Zen monks, and the Zen monks don't really see it that way, so it's, the brahmacharis, it would be better ones in the joke. The brahmacharis go and ask for, but see, they wouldn't ask for a hot dog either. They're vegetarians, so again, you have to correct the joke a little. So they walk up to a vegetarian hot dog stand, and they say, "Make me one with everything." Yeah. You're not supposed to study a joke. You're just supposed to laugh. Anyway, that's this whole picture of this trinity of supreme, objectively supreme single consciousness, which we honor in each other with the word namaste. But we're also honoring all of the potential and the interrelationships of Brahman, Atman, and Paramatma. And I'm making an interpretation of these things which may not align with others. But if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. But the Paramatma, the interchange, I mean, as Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. If you've seen Paramatma, you've seen Brahman. And there's this sense that you are the Supreme. You are, and Jesus prayed that you should be as a great mystic that he was. Prayed that may they, talking about his followers and all, they should experience that they're one with me as I am one with you, Father. All together now. So that's an interesting statement. A lot of things that Jesus said work very well with inner mind communication concepts, and so do other religious concepts out there. But you said, well, you're all about spirituality without religion. Yeah, depending on how you define religion, right? And religion is about a lot of rules and usually involves some concept of punishment. And the mystic path, well, joining the mystic path destroys the concept of punishment and offers a universalist kind of picture that everybody is one in this consciousness, and all are saved if they will but realize that they are saved. And as the great yogis say, everything comes from bliss and returns to bliss. Well, Brahman is a consciousness, of course, would have the kind of love that it takes to want and enjoy everything that could exist existing. That is not a particularly loving concept, as from a human perspective. It means that we've got our little spot to exist in, and other things do too, and that might end up bad for us if we're devoured by a polar bear. But everything has this right to exist, and it provides a kind of dramatic experience. Supposedly in NDEs, they will pick this dramatic experience over, I guess, floating about and just existing in continual bliss. And so people, souls, if you want to posit a soul, would decide what they want and be given it, and that when you enter into a timeline, everything is pretty much predetermined. Your consciousness may vary. Your use may vary. But basically, it's predetermined. But being able to enjoy that timeline and everything that's happening in it, and being at one with your brain who makes your decisions, well, that's a kind of blissful state to be in, a position from which you enjoy everything, because you can be outside of the timeline. You can be Paramatma, outside of the timeline, enjoying your dramatic role. And in these relationships, of course, determined or predetermined, and no matter according to what, is an enjoyable kind of interchange. And realizing it means you're not having to wait until you die to experience heaven. It's right now, if you will be here now. And more than that, you can be here now, observing your timeline and encouraging your role in it to be a hero of love. So, what is the purpose of everything? Love. To find an empathy with all three of these things. The Brahman, the singular joint consciousness, the interface between ourselves and that which is a supremely loving human interface with that Brahman, the Father. And well, enjoying that, being able to take all of those perspectives, well, that's, you're in heaven right away, right? And you're enriched right here, right now, within the drama that you're experiencing, whether or not you think that you remember a past life, which may or may not be real, I suppose. and the manner or type of reality that that might be is up to question. The experience of empathy is what makes the journey in life, the dramatic experience, meaningful. That is, that meaningfulness is what you see in the mythologies. Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, talked about that, wrote some books, had an interview with Moyers. That was a beautiful interview. Had several, and so you can, I believe, you can look that up on YouTube. Anyway, that's that makes everything meaningful. The Paramatma is where you get your sense of meaning. Is the interplay of empathy and your dramatics with your dramatic self. That's objective empathy, which helps from your perspective in the illusory present, looking into the future, and compassionate empathy, which helps you in the present, looking into the past or experiencing the past, and your non-linear, your imaginer of your imagination of all these things. That is a communication with the creative empathy, that inner artist in you is your Paramatma. So all of these things are illusory. It depends on how you look at it. But they're useful. They're useful perspectives. And the supreme realization of bliss. Well, bliss is beautiful when you feel it, and you can also move outside of it and jump back into it. And this is something you can do with the practices of inner mind communication. So the empathy is evolved in us as social animals from the roots of those forms of empathy, which had no self-concept. Was the ability to be at play with needs and feelings and so on, and to be focused on needs, feelings, and so on. And the other skill that we're pretty much born with is to express those needs and feelings and so on. Expression evolved into compassionate empathy. And that's where we have a self-concept. It evolved into that. And why? Because compassion is what helps people to be able to feel what happened to them, to feel, to counter any helplessness, to give a pass to expressing those needs and feelings. You know, it's you're good to go. You're safe. And compassion is about that. Now, creative empathy is a connection to that part of you that you sense imagines everything else. It is the part of you that helps to give meaning um, to your sense of a dramatic self, your self-concept. It gives meaning to that. It calls you to a higher degree of creativity, objectivity, and objectivity, which are at the root of our values, our ideals. From objectivity, truth, from compassion, goodness, and from the creative artfulness, the ability to appreciate all of life, ourselves, and each other, and to be in a position of actually creating new memories, if we so wish. And, you know, so a lot of times when you talk about prayer, is it rational, is it irrational? Communicate with your inner artist, can. That's part of inner mind communication, as I promote it, which is kind of yoga of love. And that means a communication with the artist is valid. You know, it's okay. And what comes of it becomes of it. You know, you don't have to imagine anything supernatural. However, okay. So all of these things are roots of virtue and ways to experience your dramatic timeline and to have a concept of that. Self-transcendence in the sense of being here now in a way that dissolves time and sense of time. Well, the infant mind in you, your infant self, your pre-language self, has these initial abilities that I talked about. And when you connect to play, focus, and expression of needs, feelings, and so on, without using language, then you help the entire process in terms of unlearning helplessness around damaged faith and love that occurs and can occur before you have a self-concept. That's so that's a vital part of our ability to transcend who we are so that we can change our experience and ourselves. It's important to be able to have a rest and a break from all of the other interactions I'm talking about, and just rest. And also, it can the techniques used to help connect to your ability to be at play, to be aware or focused, and to be expressive of needs from before you had a self-concept. Well, these are harken back to the basic Vedic yogas, which involved the use of sound, as in mantra yoga, the use of breath, closest thing to your feelings. Therefore, all about expressing those feelings. Um, you know, it's, when you breathe in and out, you are deeply connecting to yourself, and in the way that I use intermind communication, it's an opportunity to blend that with an expression of feeling. And breath is a good way to do that, to express, just directly express what you're feeling. And then there's dhyana yoga, which is all about focus. And this yoga of love that I teach, it's when you're focused on your needs and feelings and sensations and so on. It's basically meditation of a sort. Mantra yoga is the use of sound. That's where you can be at play with that sound, and that will help you to rest from or divide from the language experience of the world with all of its concepts and stresses. And to get in touch with that, I posit that it would be good to play with sounds. So mantra yoga uses mantras, but the way that it uses them is to repeat the mantra, something you repeat over and over again. And when you do that, it loses all of its meaning. And so you're at play with the sound, and you're using sound. In other words, you're playing with it. You're using it to drop the language concepts. So what I say is go to what they do in music, just create the sounds yourself, be at play. And like you hear a baby, doing baby talk, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you can sing, and this playfulness, you can sing the sounds you create, or you can just state them. But all of these things are relevant to an experience of your needs and your feelings from before you had words to express them. And therefore you can see all of these different approaches. These 6 different approaches are much more impacting and in terms of life change and personal growth if you use them all together. And they help you to experience needs that are because of trauma attached to great helplessness, so that you can unlearn the helplessness around these needs and feelings and so on, and process them by feeling them and expressing them from a safe perspective. And all of these different perspectives provide a different kind of feeling of safety. And so the practice of inner mind communication, the yoga of love version, is to use each of these and attempt to comfort yourself. But know them, you may know or you may not know. It breaks down the symbolic defenses that were put in place to keep you from having unbearable anxiety, unbearable helplessness. So that's at the root of complex PTSD and PTSD, isn't it? Is the helplessness. and the helplessness means that um, you change the original reactions to things that you think you can cope with. You turn it into an illusory present reality, symbolic of the helplessness and the feeling trapped by it. It gives you this. The brain does this, it just does it automatically. Becomes a survival memory, and that's why it's so hard to unlearn the helplessness and integrate trauma. But the helplessness is unlearned as you approach those feelings and needs in their original helpless context. And the way to do that is to break down the symbolic defenses, the illusions that were created by your brain to prevent you from overwhelming anxiety when the helplessness was real. So you have to be in a safe space, and you can find your safe space by doing these practices. Now, the types of empathy, that involves your dramatic self talking to your inner artist, your inner counselor, and your inner caregiver. And the way you communicate with the caregiver is, well, you don't have to physically change from one chair or position to another to do this. You just see in your mind people that you care about or who you should care about, and people that care about you or who should care about you, and you talk to them out loud. Yeah, talking to yourself can be very valuable. It's more amplifies the experience. If you want to de-amplify it and take a more distanced perspective, then you can write things down that you're kind of interfering with the full experience of the love yoga. And yeah, there's a bit of interference there, but it has some value. And for some people, that might be what they want to do. It isn't nearly as impacting or as life-changing, but it could be. Well, I won't say that. It depends on how bad off you are, what benefits you get from it. But there's a deeper benefit than that. If you're talking to your inner counselor, well, you can almost put two pillows down or chairs and switch between. Some people do that. It's like about 6 feet apart. And you're just talking to yourself as your counselor, someone who's helping you from your perspective in the present, and how do I deal moving forward. And from that perspective, things that happened to you in the past are not things you're trying to relive. You're just talking about them as you might talk about them as, I remember this or I remember that. And you put together some kind of meaning. That's that's your talk therapy. Yeah, has its value, and you can do it yourself. And of course, you can feed these images of your inner artist and your inner caregiver and your inner counselor from real experiences in life with people that you have that kind of relationship with. When you're communicating with your inner artist, that's you might say, show me what I need to see, let me hear what I need to hear. And you see what comes back. Or you jump into the position of your inner artist and you create memories. What are you feeling right now? What's going on? And you tell your inner artist, and your inner artist says, let's create a new useful memory. Let's change that memory just a little bit. And let's reimagine it. And so that can be very helpful. Yeah, big feeling sorts of experiences are important, and when you have you're growing spiritually when you have a workable personification of Brahman, and you're communicating with it from your dramatic point of view, and you also have this sense of that supreme consciousness that includes all of us together and all of the worlds. And you can get a bit of a rest from the basic Vedic yogas used in a feeling kind of way. Get a kind of a rest from it all. All of these things have different health benefits. There's some who say that, some people with unique diseases may find some of it problematic, but essentially when you're going through this kind of experience, when you learn it and you practice it, you don't do it to scare yourself. You don't do it to, it's not like therapy in the sense you're looking for negative things. Definitely aren't. You're looking for the kind of personal growth that can help you deal with those negative things and help you to transcend them. So that's spiritual growth. And it's all because it's also growth in virtues, as I pointed out. And yeah, there's different songs that come to me, Sanskrit and other things that are important. And the Native American too, that's very transcendental. It's something that a lot of hippies said, in my day. When we were flowered and roaming about and believing in love. Wichita Taitumara Oranika Hey nay no water spirit spelling spring round my head makes me feel glad that I'm not dead. Yeah. Very transcendental. You don't have to be doing, a ritualistic kind of approach to these things. Like, oh, you do this every Sunday. You do it when you feel like. Yeah. That's spiritual, but not religious. The more ritualistic it gets, the more religious it gets. It's up to you how much ritual you want in your life. But when it gets to the point that people are telling you what to do, how to do it, and gee, if you don't do this ritual and you're in deep trouble, get away from them. Don't let them tell you that. If you enjoy listening to them tell you that, then maybe you come home and laugh about it. I don't know. But, you know, I would say spiritual but not religious is the best forward movement that we can have. So that means working with all these different perspectives and making use of them. And well, that's really basically it. All done. I've done it all, and I can go away. Well, there's the philosophy of all of this. You know, what philosophy or forms of philosophy that might evolve from this. What kind of political positions would you have from these perspectives? And there are probably multiple. Certainly helps you understand, and it helps you to, you know, to move forward. As I said, the process of change from a more unreal self with symbolic need toward a more realistic perspective, and then plus that some spiritual growth. To move in that direction, we need to, and we can do it both at the same time, very much. The a linear picture of that, which is not entirely accurate, but it gets close, and it's a valuable perspective. You have to feel what happened to you, right? You know, for real, not the symbolic sense of what happened to you, or a verbal sense of what happened to you, but a feeling sense of what happened to you when your faith and love was damaged. A feeling, awareness of that. When that happens, then the symbolic crumbles, and when that crumbles, then you realize that the needs of that time, which you had symbolized and drag around with you all of your life, these things are in the past. These are losses. But realizing these things as losses demands another step where you grieve what you've lost. You know, I'll never be a pianist now. Yeah, you lost that, maybe. You know. But you have to grieve what you lost. And grieving what you lost helps with what? It helps you to forgive, to let go of those things, and that helps you to forgive those who may have helped to cause that. And this is this kind of forgiveness is really helpful, because then you have evolved from that. You have a ability to realize the terrible thing, the most terrible thing, is where you're a social pariah. When you've done bad, you've done things that hurt other people. Wow. That's the last thing that you can integrate, because it's definitely the hardest. All these
Praise
other
God.
things prepare you to be able to have real remorse. But after you've had real remorse, then you have this beautiful experience of realizing this is no longer you who did that. So, this is the path. This is, we have discussed now, you know, I didn't touch on where are we. Well, I did, but I didn't directly mention it. Where are you? Well, are you a point in time, or do you transcend it? And that's a point of view. That's a sense of where you are. Anyway, as I like to say at the end of my presentations, namaste, which is the honoring of all of this, this understanding, whatever, that's basically already in you, if you think about it. This potential, this love flow, this unification with the universe that's in you needs to be honored. And so from that perspective in me to that perspective in you, namaste. And I am a ham, and I do love this Irish blessing song. If you heard it before, you can just turn it off now. But may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Namaste, and well, have a good day, y'all.